Man, these heroes in Star Wars Battlefront 2 cost 4,000 battle points to get, so I'm willing to bet that if you do end up getting Luke Skywalker or pretty much any hero or villain in the game, that your plan is to stay alive the entire match so you can rack up those kills and just have a good time playing the game. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna finally give them the hero guides that they've been waiting for, because I most definitely, in my opinion, have some A1 tips that I want to give you guys for each one of the characters in Star Wars Battlefront 2. And today we're gonna kick things off with the one and only Luke Skywalker. Alright, so in today's video, we'll be going over Luke's stats, abilities, star cards, how I feel about him, and at the end of the video, I'll be leaving you guys with some tips to use in every game mode that you can use the guy in. Now, Luke Skywalker is a talented individual in Star Wars Battlefront 2, one of the best characters in the game in my opinion, but he said it himself.
Talent without training is nothing.
Alright, so let's start things off with his health. He has 750 base health, which is pretty average for lightsaber characters, and the health regen itself isn't going to start for about 3 seconds after you just got attacked. His weapon of choice is obviously his lightsaber, which does 130 base damage and 160 from the rear, which is pretty decent, but you gotta remember, Luke isn't known for his strength, Luke is known for his speed. And in my opinion, I'll take maneuverability over strength any day, which now I'm starting to realize is probably why I don't like playing with Vader that often. Now yes, Luke Skywalker is the fastest hero in Star Wars Battlefront 2, or fastest lightsaber hero I should say, in Battlefront 2. Now one tip I want to give you guys is that's pretty much universal with every character in Star Wars Battlefront 2. When you come into Galactic Assault or Supremacy, 9 times out of 10 to stay alive and get those super long kill streaks, you have to use that hero or villain's defining traits to stay alive. Well, what do I mean by defining traits? Well, I'll give you 2 other examples aside from Luke's speed. The first example is going to be Boba Fett. His defining trait is his escapability. You get caught up in a firefight with Boba or you're starting to lose health, you turn on that jetpack, you're instantly out of there. That's a unique ability tailored to him, and if you use that, you're going to get those long kill streaks with him. Another example I'm going to use is Anakin. His defining trait, in my opinion, is his strength. He's obviously the strongest Jedi out of all of them. So if you're playing super defensive with Anakin and you're not going out there being aggressive and using his defining traits, you're probably going to die very early off. Alright, now that y'all are familiar with Luke's stats, let's dive right into his abilities. Alright, so obviously the kid has 3 abilities. The first ability is a push, which does 150 damage and 90 damage to heroes. The second ability is repulse, which does 130 base damage and 75 damage to heroes. And the third and final ability is his rush, which does 100 damage to all. And just like every other hero in the game, he has 2 upgradable star cards that can complement those abilities. Now, if you want to make Luke Skywalker's push even more effective, you can throw on 2 star cards, the first being Stronger Push, which is going to increase the knockback distance, and the second star card you can throw on there is going to be Extended Push Reach, which is going to increase the area of effectiveness. Now, for the repulse ability, you can throw on Epicenter, which is going to increase its damage, or you can throw on Stronger Repulse, which is going to increase that area of effectiveness as well. And finally, for his last ability, Rush, he also has 2 star cards. The first one's going to be Rush Immunity, which grants him temporary damage reduction after using a rush, and the second one is going to be Jedi Reflexes, which increases the cooldown per charge but also grants him a 3rd rush ability. And of course, he also has 3 additional star cards on top of the 6 that I just mentioned, which in my opinion are going to be 3 of his best. You have Intensify, which increases Luke's damage by 2 for every trooper he kills, or 200 damage dealt to villains. You also have Deflection Mastery, which basically means he's going to block those blaster fire shots more accurately. And the third and final star card, which is my personal favorite for Luke, is going to be Jedi Fighter, which basically means his melee strikes and blaster defection both drain less stamina. Alright, so now that we talked about Luke Skywalker's stats, his abilities, his star cards, and the star cards you can throw on top of his abilities, I want to dive into the best star card setup for Hero Showdown, Heroes vs Villains, and Galactic Assault / Supremacy. Alright, so I know for a fact when I get Luke Skywalker in Galactic Assault or Supremacy, I like to go crazy, get those super high kill streaks, but I also want to stay alive and keep it moving. And the best 3 star cards I feel like that you're going to be able to use in Galactic Assault or Supremacy are going to be Intensify, Jedi Fighter, and Epicenter. This build is pretty much going to guarantee you're not running out of stamina, you're stacking damage for every trooper you kill, and 200 damage dealt to villains, and if you get caught up in a sticky situation, you can throw on Epicenter like I said, or you can even throw on Stronger Repulse. It's really up to you, but you want that repulse ability to be able to be effective, because that's going to be the ability that ends up saving you when you're surrounded. Alright y'all, for Heroes vs Villains, I'm using Intensify, Jedi Fighter, and Jedi Reflexes. In this build, you're not going to run out of stamina, you're still stacking damage, but on top of that, your Epicenter is stronger, so when all those villains are around you, you can knock them on the floor and just give your teammates a chance to get in on the action. Now let's get into what in my opinion is probably the most important star card lineup to pay attention to. Now you don't have to listen to my exact lineup obviously, but these are star cards that have definitely helped me out in Hero Showdown. We're going to be going with Intensify, Jedi Fighter, and Rush Immunity. Now the only difference that this build has from our Heroes vs Villains Luke build is the fact that we replaced Jedi Reflexes with Rush Immunity. Now if you don't remember, Rush Immunity is going to grant Luke a little bit of damage reduction after he uses each one of his rushes. Now the reason I think this is a really important card for Hero Showdown is because when Luke does one of his rushes, he's at his most vulnerable state. I can't even tell you how many times I've been in a really good fight with Luke Skywalker and we get towards the end of the fight, and the reason they end up losing is because he uses one of those rushes against me and I either jump in the air and choke him with Vader, or I use Dooku's lightning and just put the fight away. Now with Rush Immunity, ability is going to do is it's going to grant you that 15% extra damage reduction if you have it to purple, and you'll be a lot better off in those type of situations where you just get caught up. Alright, now here's a few tips you can use for Luke pretty much in every game mode. The first tip is going to be play aggressive with Luke but know when to run. He's super fast on his feet and he has super fast attack speed. Utilize that, get your kills up, but also know when to use the abilities to get out of a certain situation. Now tip number 2 is going to be to jump push enemies. Now jump push is exactly what it sounds like. It's nothing complicated. You jump in the air and use your force push instead of standing on the ground and doing it, because Luke gets an animation where he stops and pushes while he's on the ground. Now the third tip I got to give y'all is make sure you're out there using your dodges, man. I can't even count how many times I've been playing with people on Battlefront 2 and I just don't see them dodging nothing. Like, they just think they can absorb every hit that comes towards them. That ain't how the game works. Now look, in Hero Showdown or Heroes vs Villains, I ain't never ducking smoke from anybody, but when it comes to Galactic Assault and Supremacy, 3 characters you most definitely need to look out for is Iden Versio, Darth Vader, and Emperor Palpatine. You want to look out for Darth Vader for obvious reasons because he's just an overpowered mess, but the reason you want to look out for Iden Versio and Emperor Palpatine because those are 2 characters that are designed to just melt stamina bars, and they're probably just the 2 most annoying characters to run into in Galactic Assault or Supremacy, especially if they have reinforcements around them. Now the 4th tip, a very important tip, do not be afraid to combine your abilities when you're in a tricky situation. Like, I got some combos that I can spit out for y'all. They're gonna sound pretty dumb, so I'm gonna try to give y'all a visual depiction of it when I say them. You got the dash repulse, the push dash repulse, the force push dash, not to mention you can also throw in some lightsaber attacks between them. Luke Skywalker is one of the best characters in the game when it comes to combining abilities, and like I said at the very beginning of this video, you got to be able to use those defining traits, and that's how you're going to get those super long kill streaks and stay alive in Galactic Assault and Supremacy. Now look, I know I just threw a lot at you guys. It's a lot to remember and you're not going to get it all in the first take of watching this video, so feel free to come back and watch this video again if you forget some of the tips that I gave you. Now don't expect to be able to turn on your console or your PC or whatever you're playing on and think you're going to be this super crazy juggernaut Luke the first time you try it with all these tips. Like anything, if you put in some practice, I promise you, you'll end up being one of the best Lukes on this game. But alright y'all, that's pretty much all I got for today's video. I'm definitely going to be doing all the rest of the heroes and villains in Star Wars Battlefront 2. And of course, if you're new to the channel and enjoyed today's video, feel free to subscribe. And let's get this video to 100 likes and I'll bring y'all another hero guide.